What to expect from Baku GP 2022? The F1 caravan is currently moving in Azerbaijan, more precisely in Baku. This is another street race that has been able to deliver some very interesting performances from the previous years. However, certain drivers have bitter memories from the GP, especially the main protagonists for the 2021 championship battle, Verstappen and Hamilton. Both of these drivers failed to finish the race due to different issues. Max Verstappen had a tyre blowout, a problem that has happened to Stroll at the nearly same place couple of laps before. This has caused the FIA to do thorough research on Pirelli as their main provider for tyres because both of the drivers didn't have any predictions from the team about possible tyre failure. However, Hamilton's reason was a different and more absurd one, as he had a brake failure in turn 1 after taking the lead from Sergio Perez and finished last in the race. Baku was set to be a huge 1-2 win for Red Bull before Verstappen's failure, as the team has waited a long time for this achievement. Therefore, it's safe to say that we're in it for a good weekend, and with the new regulations, the racing should be closer and more interesting. So, let's dive in on what should we expect from this GP. As we mentioned earlier in the video, Baku GP is a street race that has high elevations and narrow corners. 2021 was the year where Red Bull was dominant on these kinds of tracks, as they had failed to match the straight line speed and high speed corners of their main rivals, Mercedes. But things are very different now, as Ferrari has the qualities of Red Bull last year, very good in low speed corners, and Red Bull has proven to be the fastest car when it comes to straight line speed. Baku has one of the longest straight lines compared to other GPs. And quite logically, it's a DRS zone, so we should expect a big movement here from the drivers, as every point counts in an interesting season like this. One interesting narrative that has arisen after the Monaco GP is the Red Bull intern rivalry. Perez has been dominant through Monaco compared to his teammate Verstappen and is looking to make a winning streak here in Baku. We shouldn't be surprised by such an outcome, as he managed to win the race last year, although it was due to some unlucky circumstances for his rivals. Currently, Verstappen and Perez are divided by 15 points in the Drivers' Championship as Leclerc sits between them. One could say that this is a very unlikely outcome, as everybody believes that the priority in the team is set on Verstappen. However, Jos Verstappen's comments refer to a situation where Red Bull has prioritized Perez's instead of Verstappen in Monaco GP, a situation that could further develop into a more consistent matter if things go this way. Perez isn't a driver that could accept the role of a number 2 driver so early in the season, and the situation this year is very different from the last season. Perez was a rookie in the Red Bull last year, and it was more than clear that it's just Verstappen versus Hamilton throughout the whole calendar. With a different narrative and situation this year, Perez is looking to directly threaten and championship lead of his teammate, as this year is one of the most interesting ones due to the 3 drivers mix situation. So, could the veteran be a real threat to the reigning champion? Baku will be the real test of that. Another very interesting situation that should be paid attention to is Ferrari. The team has had a dominant start in the 2022 season with 1-2 win in Bahrain, but have lost its momentum in Red Bull. What is more painful for the team is that they lost a significant amount of points and a chance to take the lead in the Drivers' Championship by miscalculated tactics in Monaco. This has emerged some serious talks among F1 media, such as the possible departure of Leclerc due to the team constantly failing him in crucial moments. He didn't just lose the lead, he went from position 1 to position 4, and he was heard swearing on the radio for the first time. With this being said, Baku is a race that Ferrari could use to take the momentum back in their favour. Leclerc is having some serious psychological pressure because he lost 2 wins in Spain due to engine failure and in Monaco due to miscalculations. Therefore, the team has a very high pressure on them to deliver, as the track now seems to be in Ferrari's favour due to the low corner speeds. But the Baku GP isn't just full with low corner speeds and elevations, as we mentioned earlier that it has a very long delta straight line part of the track. This is where Red Bull should be dominant, so it should be another tight battle between Red Bull and Ferrari, as Sainz will also try to deliver a top-notch performance to secure his first win in the season. A team that is looking to bounce back and be a more consistent concurrence for the podium fights is Mercedes. The team has had a very rough start to the season, and the new phenomenon of porpoising seems to have hurt them the most. However, from what we've seen in Barcelona, Mercedes have found a very good mix of aerodynamics and mechanical settings to make the car porpoise-less. This setup wasn't applicable in Monaco, as the track was narrow and had different requirements for the low-speed corners. Baku is very similar in those aspects to Monaco, but the straight line sector will be most challenging one for Mercedes, and that's where we can see if they have finally found a solution to their porpoising problem. It's a very interesting situation when it comes to drivers' performance too. Nobody would have predicted that Russell would outperform Hamilton on a constant matter and by such a margin. The Brit was able to finish behind Hamilton only on one occasion, at the F1 debut in Bahrain, but from that race on, Russell has been absolutely outperforming Hamilton and is the fastest driver after both the Red Bulls and Ferraris. So, if the team could fix the porpoising problem in Baku, Russell is set for yet another solid and dominant performance. Toto Wolff has recently said that he believes that Hamilton will have the pendulum swung at his side after a string of unlucky situations, referring to the tyre blowout in Barcelona GP after the collision with Magnussen. With all these events being from a roller coaster nature for Mercedes, Baku will be a real test for their car and the settings that they choose to drive with. Now let's focus on an individual set of drivers that seem to have very big difficulties when it comes to performing: Ricciardo and Schumacher. Ricciardo is a proven F1 driver that was very dominant in Red Bull and has been able to grab 2 podiums for Renault after such a long pause. However, the Aussie is struggling in his 2 years with McLaren, and he seems like he cannot find the motivation or the performance in the car for things to be worse for him. The team principal Zak Brown has publicly announced that he isn't satisfied with Ricciardo and that his results are disappointing both for the team and for himself as a driver. He also added that Ricciardo's bad performance is a good criterion to see how good Lando is as a driver, as he noted that the gaps between other drivers are as big as the gap that exists in McLaren currently. We know that Ricciardo is good here, as he has made the popular move of late braking, passing 3 drivers at turn 1 on the main straight. This was in 2017, however, and things are way more different now compared to 2022. He doesn't even drive the same car and has far less confidence than he had in Red Bull. However, if there is one driver that could emerge from the situation that he's in, that is Ricciardo. So, it's up to us to wait and see how things will transpire between Ricciardo and his team. Schumacher is also having a rough time in Haas, as his crashes have cost the team very much in the financial aspect of the sport. This year has seen the implementation of new rules, such as the budget cap being lowered from last year, and Haas cannot afford to spend a huge amount of money on repairs. Apart from that, Schumacher hasn't still scored a point in his career, and on several occasions he has been very close to doing so. Haas is having a decent season so far, but the reliability of their car has been a problem in the previous races. Schumacher has been very close to scoring points in Miami GP, but the contact with Vettel has swung a big punch in his guts, as he was yet unable to finish in the top 10. Schumacher is still young and has a long way ahead, but the constant pressure of scoring his first points and keeping the car as one whole piece seems like his biggest challenge so far. Even the team's principal, Gunther Steiner, said that we need to see how we move forward from here, regarding the Schumacher crash, possibly hinting that the talent itself isn't enough to keep his seat in Haas. It will be an interesting and challenging weekend for Schumacher, as we shall wait and see if he could score his first points here. Last but not least, this track should be very interesting due to the new regulations and bringing racing closer. Now, drivers can follow each other in a closer manner and they can attempt to make moves more frequently. This has enabled a mediocre teams with good drivers, such as Bottas with Alfa Romeo, to be stronger than everybody anticipated before the season. Even Haas has managed to score a decent amount of points through Magnussen and his experience, even though nobody expected their car to be in such good shape for the 2022 season. So, a very interesting weekend is upon us. Ferrari and Red Bull will be in a direct battle for the win, and Red Bull has publicly said that Red Bull drivers are free to race each other on the track, expressing the narrative of let the best one win. Maybe Perez doesn't have the mentality of Verstappen and the generational talent, but racing isn't just talent and pure speed, as the calmness and perseverance of the Mexican have emerged as a potential championship caliber traits that a driver could prevail with. Until the 12th of June, stay safe and wait for the lights out and away we go.